And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to APAC. We continue with day 2, match number 3, T1 versus Cyclops Athlete Gaming. That's the AG in the CAG. I got my best buds up here, Jess and Ace, and we're ready to go for our third matchup. Let's go through our rosters, shall we? Starting off with T1, huge organization, new signed on squad. Unfortunately, couldn't break it against their Korean opponents of Talon in Playday number 1. How are they faring, looking like today?
Well, as most will know, 11 is a familiar face, and as is Revy, the player coach for the team. But unfortunately, if you were able to tune in last week, they had a pretty poor showing. And we're not really sure if that's just them trying to mesh together, get some more synergy and coordination. Because let's be honest, there's 3 damn new names there. We've got Yeti, we've got Replica, and we've got Vamos to add to the collection of the old Scars roster. And I think that takes time. I'm not worried for them in the short term. I'm more worried for them in the long term, that if they can't speed up this synergization process, that things might look a little dire for them. But I don't want to put too many cards on the board just yet because, I mean, they've still got time to work with. We give every team a little bit of breathing room when they first form a roster, and, well, that's what we're doing here today.
All right, and their opponents currently number 1 in Japan. It's Cyclops Athlete Gaming. Still needs a bit more to show up at the highest tiers in APAC North, but they started off well, defeating their Japanese opponents 7-3 last Playday.
Started out fantastically well, as you've touched on there, Milosh, a team that we expect so much from, but they've just never quite managed to just deliver that absolute top level. But could this be the stage? That is the picture that we need to paint here for Cyclops, because they've come out with a great start against Fav. Anaton, Gatarada both had a really good start to things. They are a dead late duo and something that needs to be managed by T1 today, otherwise they might just find themselves getting run over. It's been a great start for them. Could they be on a journey to the top 2, the top 1, dare I say? It's going to be a big stage for them.
Big questions yet to be answered. We'll have that answered hopefully within the next few weeks. As a reminder for everybody, every single Wednesday, you can expect us here to be back for APAC North. That is the usual time, 11 a.m. for us here in Europe, 10 a.m. for all the Brits out there, as our crew, half at least, is made of a British squad, and, well, they have to get up a bit earlier than even we do. So, that said, let's talk about our head-to-head. You guys picked one player out of each one of these 2 teams. Once you're done with that conversation, I'll ask you about more of the other players that are around them and who are the enablers. Replica and a Black Ray. Jess, please, can you elaborate?
Well, Ace and I discussed this a little bit, and what we wanted to do is bring out the only positive rated player for T1 last week, and against a similarly rolled player on the side of CAG. You can see Replica there. He's mostly maining the flex frag operators, of which Sledge and Go-Go fit into. He did a pretty damn good job with it. Of course, they were kind of hindered by their round count overall, but I think he is a promising player for the side of T1. And then you look over to the other side, Ace, walk us through Black Ray. I mean, he's been unstoppable.
He had a great start to things, did Black Ray, and as you say, just coming in on that flex role, just allowing, basically facilitating Anaton and Gatorade just to get in there and really do what they do best, which is get kills. Don't worry about bringing the Boko, don't worry about clearing the drones out with Mozzie, or, you know, they can just do what they do best. He had a fantastic day, and I'm expecting to see more of that sort of linchpin play from him today.
So you're talking about the linchpins, but who's everybody kind of trying to rotate around them? Talk to me a bit more about them, because we got some new players, some players that viewers aren't really familiar with. Since we have a bit more time, we can kind of fill them in on it.
Ooh. Well, I suppose if you look into the side of T1, I did sort of, lean towards the fact that the team is quite new. I mean, 11 was the star player that we did look to last season when they were back on Scars, so that is a familiar face. Revy was the player coach. He mostly mained Shield, and you don't expect a coach to be at the same mechanical or strategic level as pro players who do this every single day. You don't expect... You don't expect.
You didn't make it a top 4 invitational, I did.
His teammates. I am so sick of Milosh already, ladies and gentlemen. Hashtag cancel Milosh, please. But
fair enough. Go ahead.
I was very pleasantly surprised with Replica. I think it's a player I will be following a lot more. But that's one game. I actually expect Yeti to be the one that would outshine him in the long term. So that will be the player that in today's matchup, rather than Replica, look out for Yeti. I do expect big things from that player.
Looking through the rest of the Cyclops roster, obviously already mentioned Anaton and Gatorada, who are going to bring great games. We know that 20 kills between the two of them back in Playday number 1. But looking further down the list, we had Ayagator, we had Suzuki as well. Both players that made big contributions. And if we have a look at their cost ratings, both up at 80%. And for anybody who's not too aware of what I'm talking about, Ace, what are you on about with cost? What we're talking about is how much of a contribution is that player making round by round? Which team supporting activities are they involved in, or are they not? Are they having an impact in each round? So at 80%, what we're saying there is that in 8 out of 10 rounds through that first game, they were doing something to help the team getting a kill, playing the objective, surviving the round. They were doing something to help push them towards that victory. And even though they may have been sort of further down, not mentioned as much, they were carrying out crucial roles.
And so these two teams ended up playing Villa and Coastline in the last play day, respectively. That's T1 and CAG. Let's see which map we're going to be playing on today. Our lobby is full, so we're going to go with our standard timing here. Going to have a chat about our pool, the 7-map pool. We're left with one at the end. We'll go to Consulate, and Cyclops starting off on defense if my eyes and pixels do not betray me here. So is this the right take? Is this the right decision to ban out Vela in the end and take T1 to Consulate, Jess?
I think it won't really matter which map you would take Cyclops to. I do expect them to be confident on it. I didn't expect them in their last matchup to be as confident as they were. I think coming on to Consulate, this actually will be the only map. I would say Coastline as well. Consulate and Coastline, those were the two maps I worried for Cyclops, just purely out of the fact that T1 plays so aggressive, so solo, so unexpected and unpredictable that if you had a really aggressive map like Coastline and Consulate, that they could win either one just based off being purely unpredictable, which is a shame because you don't want a map to go that way. And Ace said that before, you don't want a map to just go off pure mechanical skill. But if I could see a map where mechanical skill might reign for T1, Consulate or Coastline would have been it.
I think Consulate is going to bring us a bit of spice. I think in terms of the gunfights and the mechanics, we don't necessarily want to see that decide, as you say, but I think it's going to be one that brings T1 in with maybe a better opportunity to get something out of this. And that's what I like. If we'd have gone somewhere like, maybe Oregon or Clubhouse, one of those really tough, sort of maps that are just really well established, I think Cyclops probably get in there and have a bit more of a field day with it. So I'm surprised to see them ban both of those out. But I think, Consulate could be a bit more of an even battleground for these two.
So what do T1 need to focus on in this game to go up against the, I guess, more obvious advantage team in CAG?
Cyclops, they're very coordinated. We saw that in the last play day. If you're going to do aggressive, unpredictable plays, make them as unpredictable as you can. I know it sounds ridiculous because I'm usually hyping up, synergized and coordinated plays. I think against a team like Cyclops, you have to be that player that goes, I need to jump out of this window unpredictably now. I need to make this hero play now. T1 tried that last week. This week, I think it works.
I think you're right, but I think it comes down to who they find on those hero plays, on those jump outs, on that unpredictability. They could possibly support that with the operator banning, getting rid of the Nomad, giving themselves that opportunity in order to do that. Maybe trying to keep hold of that Valkyrie at all costs, get some cams outside and just really try and help themselves. But if they jump out and they're hitting Anaton and they're hitting Gatorada, then yes, they will have some joy. If those guys are getting inside the map, then sometimes it can be a bit tough to keep them on a leash.
All right, Ace, Jess, thank you so much for your intel. We are ready to throw it to our casters. It's T1 versus Cyclops, number 1 in Japan, and Cyclops facing off against one of the up-and-comers in Korea. How will it fare? Well, it's all going to go down on Consulate. Let's go down to Fluke and Hap on the floor. Enjoy.
Why we're on the floor, I'm not quite sure, but hey, we can watch the game from Siege from here, so it doesn't really matter. Hey, what's up? We're going in to find ourselves on Consulate T1 versus Cyclops, and as they put it on the desk. I think it's fair to say a lot of these games are going to be tough for Tier 1, but this is a Cyclops that might be on a bit of a heater after what happened last week.
Yeah, definitely, and something that I've been going on about, like the cohesion between the team in terms of droning and fragging is very important on a map like Consulate. You often see the repels on the windows, and well, we do know that Cyclops does like that fragging part, so let's see if they are going to be able to completely pick apart T1 on those repels. Now, the social vote, at least, showing 80% support towards Cyclops. Let's see if it will be an upset, or if the general consensus is going to be confirmed.
The thing about a map like Consulate as well is it raises some eyebrows for some teams that are slightly looser in terms of their coordination. It's a map where some of the sites you can entirely take without ever entering the building. So those battles, it's kind of like this constant ebb and flow. It's either teams love to be so precise and so synergized in every step that they take, or they go at it full aggro. They just say, listen, no door or window is safe. Do not try and get on the sides of this Consulate because I will just jump out and kill you. And I'm curious to see what we get from T1 because obviously, you know, it's bringing themselves in with that solidity. You wonder if that's the place that they might find themselves in.
Pretty weird pick, the Dokkaebi.
When was the last time you saw a Dokkaebi ban?
I literally cannot remember the last time I saw a Dokkaebi ban. But if I believe, we did see a Dokkaebi line combination coming down from T1 in the previous game they played. So this might be a way of Cyclops telling them to
That's a T1 ban. That's a T1 ban, though.
Oh, it is a T1 ban?
Yeah.
Oh, that makes it even more strange. Okay. You know, they played it themselves, and now they ban it. I don't know. The mirror ban makes sense, but I really don't get the Dokkaebi ban. Maybe Cyclops has shown some potential of using it against them.
You can only assume that it's some part of the clear that Cyclops wanted to do across the top floor here. It's also obviously, if I'm going to talk about the windows, a heavy-hitting DMR can cause mass destruction across a lot of these tight angles that are otherwise narrow picks to pull apart heads. But well, it leaves a lot of possibility onto the board. I'm assuming we'll start to see a big exploration of Mozzies or Valkyries throughout the entirety of this game. Gives you that little bit of freedom of information to manipulate the play space on your defenses. Consulate can be so fluid for a player that is confident to move across its hallowed halls, and CAG, they're often very confident.
I really like that Mozzie pick, and especially in combination that we see with the mute, because I have been explaining over the past couple of days how important the drone game is on a map like Consulate. You see so many kills just coming in from a yellow ping right into the person and then being banged from that window. Now, of course, that Mozzie mute is going to be making it a little bit harder to get the drones into position, so I'm really excited to see whether or not that indeed will be helping Cyclops here to go onto a little bit more of a safe approach throughout the map, throughout the roam, and allow them to be disruptive as they would like to be. Maybe we will see T1 implemented into their own game style as soon as they will be the ones on the defense themselves.
3 C4s and a huge swathe of intel, as well as obviously, as you said, the ability to stop it seems to be what Cyclops want to go with here.
Oh.
But 11 is not going to play that game. No way. Gatorada cut down. Don't know if they were peeking against the angle, but they were definitely caught out in the middle of piano, and the only song that they're going to be playing is the sweet keys and harp as they drift off to heaven, which is watching over the cams. Revy, in the meantime, is trying to apply the pressure here across these many windows, with Replica suffering the jump out. Catches the Nomad, is caught in response by 11, which is a very vital, important pick there, because if they'd been able to get away with that, well, they try again, and they do! Mozzie! I said that they might be aggressive, and yeah, this is Cyclops.
If there's a match they would describe as an explosive start to it, I think this is going to be the one that will be that description for today. You see 4 people dead already in the first 30 seconds is something that is not normally happening, but look at the attackers and what they have lost. They have lost a Jackal, which is the opportunity of clearing out potential roamers or flanks. and they have Nomad off the board, who had the opportunity to put down these air jabs to make sure those flanks wouldn't happen. And yeah, on the other side, you have Jaeger, you have Vigil, both lost. And yes, they both have great guns, but the utility is most of the time already used. And well, for Vigil, it's very selfish. So Cyclops, they should be very happy with the traits that they have been able to find.
Still a fair bit of utility in the pocket, and they're obviously going for a push minus any hard destruction. Didn't want to play around the missing Thatcher, so instead trying to gun and smash their way down. It could be caught because we still have 3 C4s in the pockets of the Cyclops defenders. Anti-chamber all the way along that backside of Piano gets very dicey at times, and as I said, of them trying to actually ignore it, it seems like they've picked up, removed themselves from Anti, going for the breach on this side instead, potentially realised that there's no actual bandit as it was picked off and going to go for something a little bit more aggressive. Yeti starts opening up the angles on the opposite side, suffers some spray from beneath. The Valcam in the top left corner is going to be giving the consistent pings towards Black Grey. He might try and swing on it. They might try and C4 it. There's a moment for him to take success, and he does, and he drops the drone in the meantime. Waited, baited, and perfectly played. Sledge offering some pressure on the opposite side as he keeps himself buried in the cubicle.
He's going to receive some pressure now, but Black Grey able to pick up that kill for these last 30 seconds. It's only up to Vamos now. Still has an exothermic and will be opening up the complete garage wall, but I'm not sure how much this will help him because, well, at some point he will have to walk in and he will be taken down. Tosses in some flashbangs, tries to get some information out, and now for these last 10 seconds is going to be trying to get a triple kill.
Oh, that's a bit of a tough ask, and they're not even going to let him into the building. Most bodies dropped in the opening 30. A change of plans towards the focus on the hard destruction after realizing Bandit was AWOL, and, well, unfortunately so was the attack from T1. Cyclops, they open up with pace, but it wasn't entirely missing from T1 a response.
No. Definitely not, but just a basically missed droning in the end right there came back to them as Black Grey hiding in that bathroom. Just a very common spot to hide, actually, you have to say. Able to pick up a double kill there. Able to shut down 2 players, 2 important players, and with that, basically turning around into the favor of Cyclops that was basically impossible to lose at that point. So maybe, you know, yes, the mute Mozzie makes it hard to drone, but they will definitely be a bit more careful next time around.
Now then, as we head over to the lobby site instead, setting themselves up to stack the smokes onto that main double door, still with a lot of this portable information game, so I'm still assuming some aggro. The change here, Gatorado might try and survive a little bit further into the round. You also, as you said, have to look at the 2 bodies that were lost first from the side of the attackers. All of their flank control and roam clear gone in the opening 30 seconds from runouts.
Yes, I was going to say as well, like, I mean, probably for the aggression that Cyclops like to bring, there wasn't 2 worse operators you could lose on the side of the attack to try and deal with that, right? You lose the Jekyll, you lose the Nomad, that is suddenly a bit of information gone that you could be using to clear out the bathroom, for example, and the air jabs that could have been used as well to lock off the bathroom if you knew someone was in there. Now again, you see spawn P galore happening. There is openings made in all the windows in Piano just to catch them off guard, whilst the actual threat is hiding on that top floor. Looking through the connector window, it's Anaton, hoping that he will be able to catch someone off guard, and Palm Tree will be blocking some of that line of sight, so Replica might not fully be aware of the fact that Anaton is hiding there.
Oh, they're setting themselves up for the pressure here against the bottom of Visa with the doubling up on admin across the top. They're going for a pretty flat, clear attempt to make sure they don't find themselves suffering from the windows, and I think it's a better way of playing it with a bit of caution. However, it's punished instantly. Black Ray holding Visa stairs, swings onto one, and goes deep for the attempt on the second. Revy doesn't quite catch the pickup on the momentum. Black Ray might not know that he's behind him. There's some footprints. It will be there in a second. He's caught on the doorway, and he's got a very tough escape now. Suffers either side of a pillar, assumes pressure will come as you can see the Nomad and the Diffuser carrying Vamos rotating around on the opposite side. He somehow escapes, and he really shouldn't have gotten away with that.
Oh, this is really smart. He gets the final ping near that circle desk, so they will be trying to put some pressure down. However, the hatch has been opened up, so he has the opportunity to be dropping down whenever he feels like it and push towards, well, maybe any of the 3 staircases that are up. And Revi seems to be thinking of that actually happening as he's trying to chase down, trying to cut down the angles, but not finding anything as of yet due to the rotator Blackray heading into the bathroom, that is. And that is 2 of the scans used on Blackray and no follow-up being able to be found by T1. And as the final one gets used, they're aware of another roamer to be upstairs, and that is going to be scaring Yeti a little bit. You see him falling back, see him returning to the rest of his teammates as they know they need to push as a unit to take him out.
Well, a minute left on the board now, and it's still a slow and steady approach as they're trying to find a handle on all of the second story. They never truly feel safe, and that is the worry of Consulate still. C4's in pocket, all 3. None of them have been ripped across the entirety of the game, I believe, as yet, but it's this constant presence because when you're dancing on a soft floor, things go wrong very quickly. Gatorada, yet again off the board first in the hands of CYCLOPS, so a 4 versus 4, but with only 30 seconds left, they've got to start trying to capitalize upon the ground they've got, and Anaton is about to try and take some of it back. They're concerned about the angle. They catch him as he goes through the connector. Blackray has a response from deep. 2 hatches. Doesn't stop him. Vamos clears his way right up to the circle desk to try and put the diffuser down, but is caught by the man spinning around the bottom of Spiral. There is CYCLOPS with somebody in antechamber, and there is Replica with revenge now. It's a 2 versus 2, but 2 seconds. They have the angle and diffuser cold. Replica can't lock it off. CYCLOPS just hang on.
Vamos absolutely bullied there. Tried to go for 3 different spots to go for the plant first. Bullied from the bottom, from the top of Spiral. Then going back, being shot from above, having to relocate again. And as his teammate clears that one up, someone pops up from the bathroom to take him out. They've really played cat and mouse with him right there. Well, actually 3 cats and 1 mouse, just trying to avoid any harm that was coming his way. And CYCLOPS able to lock onto that second round as they make sure that T1 has no opportunity of planting that diffuser due to the lack of control that they actually had of the initial side. And now you do see the echo being brought, so they do think it was maybe a little bit too close. If he was in a position where someone wasn't going to be able to get a shot down, they would have potentially lost that round. So the echo coming into play for the top floor right now on console meeting. Actually, no, split site is what we're seeing. Interesting.
Yeah, split site with a Frost 2. So, slightly curious as to where they're going to go. Dropped off the mute jammers. Realized that obviously this is a site where, sure, there is some walls that you'd want to keep hard, but at the same time, the standard hold is often seen as an underneath. You clear and careen your way across, and you make sure that most of the floor that can be destroyed is. So as soon as they try and hop in through those narrow windows and stick the diffuser down, you can catch them by surprise. Blackray, in the meantime, heading all the way up to the top, but I suppose I'm still curious where those Frosts are going to go. You bring the shield, you bring the 1.5 and the shotgun to open floors. They're just playing the basic bait. Hope they hop in through those little Visa windows.
You know, it's all about wasting time as well, right? Because as soon as they realize there is going to be a Frost on that board, every window will be checked with a drone. Every window will be pre-fired just in case there is still that Frost mat. So they're very unlikely to catch someone. However, if CYCLOPS is able to manipulate the time as well as they have been over the past round, as they again bring a Mozzie, which should make it hard for them to get information on the side of T1, they might just hop in panic, hoping to get the plan down, hoping to overrun that side and manage to at least go into a post-plant situation. Now, if that's the case, you might be able to find 1, maybe even 2 players that are just jumping in to tell us without checking it beforehand. So it's going to be up to CYCLOPS to make sure that no drones will be aware of the situation of those Frost mats.
Anaton trying to do some damage to the vending machine, but unfortunately nothing is falling out. Neither body nor refreshing drink, so moves over back to the CEO office to see if he can, well, see anything. The tier 1 clear here is coming again slow and steady. They're able to get into the building, and so far nobody's dead, which is the longest we've had all 10 players on the board. But with still so many bodies on those windows, you're never truly safe until you have a little bit more internally locked down. Pressure's coming towards the site itself as we see the Echo drones rotate round, and it forces CYCLOPS slightly underneath.
I saw him right there hoping to take out the drone before the Frost mats would be spotted, but Right above him, a breaching charge just went off. It's BlackRay, however, that is now aware of one of the players. A really good call here instead of going for the peak. Will be falling back, and that's a C4 coming. And Galarada knew exactly where it was going to be coming from and managed to get that first kill on, but the frags are loose.
Replica gets an instant response against Anaton, who is trying to get back from the connector, with Revy again concerned about his positioning on the windows. Usually, Cyclops has reacted very quickly to apply some response pressure, and there it is. BlackRay cleared his way across all the way towards admin, and that leaves Replica a man adrift and awaiting just something to happen with the rest of his team. But look at this, 11 crouched walk his way into sight, going to swing potentially on the Echo in a second. There it is, and there's a blow to the utility, and the call will come to Cyclops. Uh-oh, they're inside. Revy suffers next on the top floor. Suzu C swings up to drop them. Replica gets taken next. Suzu C finds a double as he spirals down the stairs for one more from BlackRay. They needed a response, and they had one.
Huge double kill there from Suzu C, and you can almost say, like the Echo, you should have been dug in a little bit more in those archives there, because you were just standing in the middle of the door. Literally every angle would have been spotting you there. If they would have come from garage, if they would have come from the security hall, like spiral stairs, or even just walking through archives. Of course, you don't expect them to be there at that case, but if it wasn't for Suzu C picking up that huge double kill, that could have ended very badly there for Cyclops. Nonetheless, though, it is going to be 0-3 for them, as they are still leading the charge and still being very dominant. Because something I would like to point out here, Fluke, is that at the early round, we do see constant aggression from Cyclops. They're opening up windows. They're shooting outside of the windows. Not even, like, even if they don't see anybody, just to shoot. And by doing that, you're forcing a clear to come. You're forcing people to hunt you down, because they also know this is Consulate. People can jump out of these windows at any time. People can just get an angle on us at any time. We need to make sure that they feel uncomfortable playing on that top floor. And as T1 then proceeds to go and hunt, you see the bait game being played, right? You see the man falling back. You see BlackRay falling back. You see Galarada tossing in that C4 to back him up, but you get the entry kill. From there on, you want to go for the trades. And that's exactly how Cyclops is able to win 3 rounds in a row right now.
Well, the calls have been sharp, and the response has been one that I guess leads well into their game. Looking to, again, cause some concerns and pressure from the top floor. BlackRay 7-1 when a player over 3 rounds has all of the kills of the opposing team put together. Yeah, you could say he came into this game with a bit of heat.
He definitely did, playing on that Mozzie, feeling very confident. And of course, has the opportunity to, well, set himself a perimeter with the pest, making sure that drones are not going to be able to get a direct line of sight on him, not a direct spot. It's kind of a bit like Vigil, right? Because people will know you're in that room when that ERC7 activates, but they're not going to be able to pinpoint you to an exact position due to, of course, the invisibility you have for those drones. And well, as Ravi this time gets the first kill, it's Suzu C, the big man of the last round, to fall first.
Now Yeti instantly swings behind the pair of them as they look to double down on the possibility of trades and pressure. They find some more footprints. It is the man and the myth that is causing so many predicaments for them, playing underneath. He is aware that they are definitely above him, but isn't quite aware of where the pressure is going to come from next, and it seems like they're still concerned of this top floor. Galarada is the only one playing roughly around there on the top of yellow, and it's Anaton that actually finds Revy in the meantime. There is your Jackal gone. On the attempted clear there, Galarada's looking for some pressure now. He's fallen down towards lobby. It's a trade on the main door, and Vamos suffers, but he powers through. You keep your hard destruction still standing for a big potential final push as Galarada retreats to the bathroom, but it's locked down, so he will be 2.
Yeah, Yeti now falling to BlackRay. The man is on a tear, as we have mentioned before. He is still alive, was spotted a bit by the Jekyll. Then we had the double peek from, well, top spiral and from Anaton in, of course, the bar to make sure that the Jekyll would fall. But there you have it. Famos going in quickly. They want to go for that plant right here and just 1 man to cover him because 11 is still up above. Are they aware, though? That is going to be the big question. There's 45 seconds on the clock in a retake situation.
Best play we've seen from them so far. They read there was an opportunity, and instead of waiting to try and capitalize on more bodies, they took it. A post-plant situation in a 3 versus 3 puts them in the driver's seat for the first time in this showdown so far. They have to try and swing round onto these open bodies outside, and they can't quite get the angle. T1 aren't putting themselves in this tricky situation. Gonna try and long arm it, and gonna try and stick it all the way, and there it is. Replica does a catch, but Gatorada gets one from the top. 11 has the swing out on the opposite side. The man hops down, but T1 saw some territory and took it.
Really unfortunate they didn't use that C4 there that we've had on the yellow stairs. There was 2 people coming up around, like he was checking for the long angle, right? He was hoping that they were on the top of the driveway. However, none was fine there. But if he would have tossed over the C4, he would have been able to get that double kill. That could have completely changed up this round. But still, Vamos running in, they realized, okay, 1 person, maybe 2 are on the side. If we manage to get this plan down by overwhelming them, because who expects you to run in right after you breach, we might be able to get a round out. And that's exactly what happened here, and that is going to be given at least 1 round into the favor of T1, and that might be a very important one because we've seen many, many reverse sweeps in the history of Siege.
Overconfidence can be punished, and that's something that you see a lot on Consulate. And at first, if I'm honest, I thought T1, when we saw them swimming into Visa, I thought that they were going to go heavy and hard down the backside of the site, put pressure onto the kitchen itself and see if they could take it there. But then they peeled off, went to try and clear above the hatch, and obviously there was a bit of a trade of lives. Almost dropping Vamos on the door could have and would have entirely shaped that round for Cyclops. That was the thing. He was 25 HP after a confrontation across the double door, and there was still a body above. It was very close. They didn't expect him to take the fight, though, because obviously Jackal had already been downed, not too far away. But at the same time, that was the kill that defined that round.
That's exactly the case, right? Anaton wanted to rotate in a little bit more of an advantageous position near that main door, but was found by Vamos, who was potentially looking underneath that barricade, and well, a gunfight emerged, and Vamos came out on top. He was able to win that one, and with that, as you said, otherwise the breach wouldn't have happened. Otherwise, the plants would have potentially not happened in that same position right there. Well, for sure wouldn't have happened, and then it would have been a Cyclops round. It would have been 0-4, and it's up to them right now to make up for it. But Vamos again with a very quick breach coming through. As is it actually going, or is it mute jump? I'm not quite sure.
It sounded like it went off.
It sounded like it, but I didn't hear the explosion in the end.
Did.
Yeah, okay, there it is. It did go off.
It did go off, and I think this is what I really like now. They're not putting Vamos on that rotation and side roll, and they're realizing the pressure onto site put quickly can lead to good responses. But it's also worth taking into consideration Cyclops have shown they are very good at rotating. They realize where they need to be and when, and Gatorada is going to be the next that might suffer this pressure. They have no idea. Each other is just round the corner, finds one. You have to get this revenge now. Sprays through the wall, and there it is. But yet again, you lose your Nomad as one of the first bodies off the board.
Now, luckily for them, they've already managed to open up the garage, and they know how to take this as well, right? They've realized, okay, there's only 1 or 2 people on the sides. If we manage to get one more pick around that situation, we might be able to get that one in. That's a very close call here for Revy, as he is going to be able to get some shots off, but not quite connect with any of them. Anaton still roaming on that top floor. They will be aware of that now, and that means they will go for a hunt. Look at that, 2 men stacking up on the Visa stairs. Will now be ascending it, with 11 being in that connected. They're going hard for the hunt, and there is going to be the spot as well. Is it going to be Revy that picks up the killer Anaton to strike very hard as he gets the first one of the potential 2 or 3 that's chasing him?
More pressure coming around from Printer, and he doesn't quite find the second, though. Revy is able to get some revenge. Trades happening across the top 2 floors of the map, but the problem is the base is still on the basement. They have to try and capitalize upon what they have opened so far. They still obviously have the possibility to stretch some of their play, but Black Ray is watching down the backside. It seems like the smoke is much more aware now of the possibility of them swimming in and trying to get that diffuser down. They have them positioned as an instant response, which before they did not. 30 seconds, 2 canisters left, still locked in on an angle, and now nobody in Piano to try and force them out. Vamos is instead going to try and bury himself behind the black car. Doesn't get caught in the next smoke. A fantastic repositioning, finds some success, but there's the swing and there's a post plant and some revenge suddenly. We have 11 as the only body left on the board for the blue team. They are rotating background. They get lucky. They don't get caught there, but it's the swing on the angle. They might not know it's being diffused. They get one. They go for the next, and they find the 11.
I was going to say, this is a way better position for CYCLOPS to try and make sure to go for that long arm, because there was no way they could be covering that, except for, of course, if 11 was going aggressive and if he was going to be gunning them down, which is exactly what he did, picking up the second round right here for T1. 11 coming in huge in this round, making sure that that plant would stick, making sure the 1v2 clutch was going to be an easy one for him.
Great adaptation to be able to go behind the black car instead. They realized that they couldn't get that smoke out, and they knew exactly what the smoke was going to do. Wait 10 seconds and throw the next one, and then just keep burning that plant spot. They had to take the chance and get it down, and they just achieved it. The split second after he stood up, he was then put back down in the dirt, but he got to rest a little bit easy knowing he'd put the diffuser down, and all the pressure and stress was on 11. And in a weird way, luckily all the pressure and stress was on 11, because he comes up clutch when he needs to.
No, he definitely did there. That's going to be the second round for T1. A very important one, as right now it suddenly looks a lot better. Because if we were looking at those first 3 rounds, CYCLOPS seemed to be absolutely overrunning them on that defense. It's just, you know, flanks that were left undroned and everything you can imagine. And right now T1, they've managed to find out the garage cafeteria, just go for the plants. They are not ready to deal with that, and if you plant in a position they do not expect, we are going to be able to get away with it. And that happened twice in a row right now. Twice in a row Vamos managed to plant, once behind a white van, once behind the black car. You keep them on your toes like that and you manage to win and clutch the round. Very important, a very good adaptation from T1 right there.
One of the things that I'm thinking there, though, is we've seen the Echo played on other rounds. It's played this round by Ayagator. That could have very much won the previous 2 rounds for them.
That's very iconic, or ironic rather. IQ just walking right past the yokai. Yeah, not able to find it. Anaton able to pick up the first kill. Really big. Replica will go down, but 3 frags, of course, will be found. It's a true frag fest, actually.
Yeah, instantly, and yet again, the roam clear suffers, but 11 yet again has found his way into sight. They're aware, though. This time, they're able to drop him before he drops someone else, but they also seem to be aware of where the Echo's playing above the hatch. Yeti decides to take it from underneath. Look at this. T1 take the site again. They are just applying this pressure, still watched, and still have a lot more work left to do, but the way that they're adapting to themselves of, well, they're playing off site, so let's just play in the site. Let's put the pressure onto the bodies that are trying to lock down and hold it. It's going to come down to Yeti going for the swing here on Anti. They're looking for the body over the top. There it is. But in the meantime, a C4 gets that thermite on the far side. Anaton on the top, Black Ray on the bottom, and a cold diffuser in the middle. There's the yellow pings showing the rotation of one of the 2, but a minute 20 and there's a lot left to do.
They're aware of one of the positions right here as Yeti is about to be moving in, hoping to pick up one of the kills, but it's already fallen apart right here for T1. They had the side, they had control, but now they seem to be losing it as both of the CAG members have rotated all the way on the top floor. They know the diffuser is down. They know there's 60 seconds left, which is plenty of time for Yeti to force 2 1v1s, so they're going to be trying to make sure that doesn't happen. They're going to be trying to stick together and make sure that they can help each other in case there is need for it.
And they're seeing the dead body and they're going to try and creep up. They're all maybe not aware the angle's being held just from inside CEO. There's the first firefight and the spray, and there it is. Anaton suffers a lot. 40 seconds though. They've already wasted 40, half of it left to go. And here's the worry, the long desk. As soon as he goes for the swing, there it is. Black Ray from deep, and CYCLOPS are able to at least pull it back and keep themselves ahead after seeming like they were starting to fall a foot behind.
It was very lucky for them that they managed to find the diffuser right there, because that forced Yeti to go for the hunt to try and take down these 2. Because a plant going down 7 seconds, not being able to shoot whilst you're playing against 2 players that are playing right above you is going to be very dangerous to try and pull off. So it needed to find at least one to make it a bit more doable, but wasn't able to. Almost managed to find one of them, but wasn't able to lock down the shots quite yet. And that means we're going to the side swap now. And look at the operators that we're seeing. We're seeing a Ying being brought out. Okay, it's being 6-picked. It looks like, yeah, okay, the Yana coming out, which is, of course, very good for the utility usage. And we see the Warden being picked out by Replica. So they want to respond on the sides of T1, but they just walked into the trick, the trap card.
I'm curious to see, obviously, how much use he gets, because you are looking at an expected push here. You're looking at 4 smokes, 4 frags, and a big wall they're going to try and break their way through with the Maverick. And, you know, and then it turns into this battle of, okay, who's paying that little bit more attention? I suppose with the not fantastic track record Replica's had in terms of the opening engagements, where if he's not been the first body off, it's quite often the second. So if you're relying on the hold from him, I guess it's protect Mr. Who Protects the President game.
Yeah, they got to make sure that Replica is going to be staying alive, because as you mentioned, there is a ton of smokes, there is a ton of grenades, and we can almost guarantee the fact that there will be a breach, and after that, everything will start raining in. The Monty will be pushing forward, the smokes will be starting to be deployed, whilst one of the team members is going to be going for the plant. You're trying to sow chaos in that situation. You're throwing in the grenades, you're throwing in a Monty. In the meantime, so many calls will be coming over that potentially they're not even realizing that the diffuser is going down. And the question is, of course, will that work? Well, if it works, we're going to be able to get a plant really early on in the round.
Anaton putting pressure onto Yellow as they swing around with the Monty to see if they can alleviate any of the stress before, keeping a keen eye on any of the bodies that might be putting some intense response to the opening of the wall, allowing the Maverick to slowly and steadily start to crack his way through. Ayagator is dancing and dabbling above like high aerial silks work as he tries to put bullets behind anyone holding the back of White Van, and the wall gets cracked open. Now it's the steady approach as they try and do a flat push, completely ignoring the opposite side of Piano. They want to dig out all the many things that are dug in on that staircase, and there it goes. The Banshee stops wailing and Monty starts a moving.
Yeah, they do, however, know 1 or 2 members are still going to be on the top floor whilst they're taking care of some of those magnets, allowing these grenades and these ash charges to come in a bit more effectively. But look at the pipes. There's 2 players located in that situation. If they're going to be able to get a grenade in there, that will be devastating for the likes of T1. Could be a potential double kill if it lands right. But for now, it's going to be a strong point. The Monty comes in. The first kill lands. It's Black Ray that gets a team kill, however, and Anaton, but Kag is not stopping. Kag keeps moving, and it seems like they have side control.
Yeah, they dug themselves in there, killed everybody, including a teammate, and now it's only a Jaeger left on the second story, but doesn't make it anywhere further down. Cyclops, they take that, and to be honest, there was never a point in that round where I felt like things weren't going to their plan. They could have done that in an empty server, and it feels like it would have been the same pace.
Could indeed be the case, yes. Like, it went really well. It seemed like they choreographed it to perfection, because they knew exactly what they wanted. There was no real opposition. Like, they weren't forced to adapt to it, right? They could just do whatever they want. And the smokes came in, yes, but you kind of expect that. That is something you prepare for in the start. So for them, didn't really get any massive resistance in that push. And they could just do how they wanted it. The one only thing that probably wasn't expected was a team kill to happen, but it didn't really matter for them as they just continued pushing in the end anyway.
Unfortunately, that doesn't add to your tally, Black Ray. I mean, maybe CCG will count it as a 13-3 right now, but
as an extra death?
No, an extra kill. Didn't Black Ray kill?
Yeah, he killed one. But I know, like in like what happens in other games, for example, they would remove one of your kills and would give you an extra death.
Not in Siege. No, we'll reward you for killing your teammates. Get an extra kill.
You're all about that.
Now, okay, it maybe felt a little bit harsh to say there was nothing there, but you gotta be honest, with that previous round, T1 kind of sat back, and you can't really do that with Cyclops. Cyclops get aggro. They push in deep, and they do not stop. You have to try to put them a bit off kilter, and I like the play of those laser gates, in the words of Ace here, because that might stem some of the approach here. That might take something out of the sails. There is 6 smokes across the board. also, they have a lot to burn them, but at the same time, it's something, you know?
Oh,
So is that.
kill.
Drops them through the bottom.
Wasn't even done yet by writing down all my entry kills from the last round, as that one happened so quick. But there we have it again. Clicker 11 actually able to pick up the first one onto Gator, and that is going to be changing the approach of Cyclops. Yes, they still have the Ying. Yes, they still have, well, 4 smokes remaining, as 2 already have been used by Gatorada. But it's definitely going to be making it harder. They no longer have that man advantage or the man count to go for even trades. That means that they now need to find something back themselves before they are going to be pushing and committing to that eventual execute.
There goes the burn, as I talked about. It's something to try and play it off. Imagine using your Selmas to go for a breach. I guess it plays off the idea. Maybe they expected something else in terms of a site, and this was a setup for a B push. But either way, that's that adaptation. That's that knowledge. And that's Yeti jumping with the vain hope that that was a man locked in on his drone.
Well, he was.
He was.
He checked the wrong site, unfortunately. It's really unfortunate, Yeti there. Not having the best of games so far on 2 kills. Could have picked up a very important one there. Able to get a good frag and putting your man and your team up to a 2-man advantage, as the Candelas are now being tossed in. Seems to be giving away a potential push from the connector. Gatorada, however, seems to be aware of a potential run out from that balcony, but the diffuser actually is located around the B bomb site. As Blackgray gets another kill, then the man advantage is yet again in the hands of Cyclops, and that is something they will want to use in these next 50 seconds with the last pieces of utility they have left to themselves.
11 is going on a rotate round to the bottom of yellow to see if they can offer some support to Replica, who's probably going to suffer some pressure sooner rather than later. Smoke canisters, however, stop this approach, but Blackgray might not be aware of where they are. They're not. There's the second for 11 this round, 30 seconds, and you drop Blackgray in a very vital position. The Candelas scream beneath as they try and push and clear them out, but in the meantime, Suzu C has seen the site and decides he wants to take it. There's one body putting pressure here. There's the diffuser cold inside connector. Vamos is able to find a very important frag, and 11 has a lot of rotating to do, but gets caught off by Gatorada watching the opposite side. Vamos decides, well, they're not going to expect this. Steps up, steps round, and goes to the back of the spiral staircase. 7 seconds, but this diffuser is likely to get planted now. They go for the close quarters there. There's a man on the wrong side of a shield. There's the rotate coming through, and Vamos just has one more to put through. Sees the pop, sees the pellets, sees the possibility of being able to pull this back. He drifts to the other side of the hard, but he can't quite get Aniton. Cyclops, they find another attack in a row.
I was gonna say, Cyclops managed to turn it all around. They brought the man advantage back to themselves, but then 11 was still downstairs, able to bring it to a 3-on-3. Then the diffuser got dropped as well, as they got a bit too greedy, potentially trying to go and push for that plant. And suddenly it looked like this would have been a T1 round, especially with Vamos dropping. If that one wouldn't have been known, they would be hunting for maybe a couple of more seconds, buying some extra time for him to rotate back around, but he managed to bring it back to that 1v1. Unfortunately, though, Aniton was too strong, was just playing with him there, just playing drive-bys from one reinforced wall to the other. And as he wanted to make a run for it to come in around the corner, he got picked up by the SMG that Aniton carries with him. And with that, Cyclops find themselves onto match point already.
I think one of the notable differences between the two teams that's kind of easy to pinpoint is the usage and utility of roam control and flank control. On T1, we saw it constantly. There was Nomad and Jackal every single round as a partnership that never really started to get into the run of things until the final throws of the rounds, and even then it boiled down more to just being in position to get the trades rather than stopping the runouts and motions of Cyclops. But here, Cyclops are reacting much more efficiently to what is going on. They're really quickly piecing together where all the bodies are of T1 and saying, well, I can dig myself in here now. I can put feet inside the building. The response time between their information passing between them and them implementing it is where we saw the same successes from T1 on their attacks. It just seems like Cyclops are that little bit better, that little bit hotter at getting it to impact and kind of put themselves in this winning position so far.
Yes, true. But also one thing that stands out is the fact that they aren't usually all cuddled up in the same corner on the same window trying to go for the same push. No, you have people spread out. You have one on the east side, you have one on the north side, one is up pushing up ahead whilst one of the other members is droning you. And you have a small strike group of 2, maybe 3 people that are looking to hit the side directly. And with that, you have pressure all over the map, whereas T1 was a bit more uncoordinated at times, as 11 yet again will be able to get the entry frag. Really doing work right now as he takes down Black Gray is going to be helpful for this next round, as they need to fight back now, otherwise this game is over.
Misdroned on the entrance there and makes them suffer for it, puts themselves in an even more aggressive position. 11 is really doing everything to keep their team in the game so far, but look at this, Gatorada digs himself in on the lobby and takes care of the Echo, swinging in. The response again from Kag is, well, you are off there, so we are going to go here. No bodies are around the site itself right now. 11 wants to try and find a way back up to try and apply some more pressure, maybe take a body and rotate back down, keep themselves guessing as Revy drops via the hatch into the site yet again. They're concerned about the approach from the lobby side, but with that Echo gone, that back line, it is going to come down to paying attention and gunning and hopefully some smokes, as unfortunately Yeti just cannot find their way into this match.
I don't know what it is with the Echo in this match and being taken down early, but it's something that's happening consistently, as Anaton will be able to pick up yet another kill. Revy, the coach, will drop in Gadarada. He's watching the bottom of yellow. He knows 11 is around that position, and that means they no longer will have to worry about that, as a rotation will be virtually impossible. And now 11 will be taken down from the window. Anaton able to pick up that kill, and that leaves it only up to Farmers. It's a 1v4 situation. The plant will surely come down soon, Fluke.
That's it. Vamos is in a very tricky situation, and he doesn't even get further into it. CYCLOPS wanted to give a demonstration after what happened to them last week against the league favorites. And I definitely would say that they stepped onto it. This game was their pace on attack and defense, and T1, they had some good moments and ideas, and they had a bit of a pickup, but when every single cog of a very high-powered killing machine is whirring in perfect synchronicity, unfortunately, you just kind of have to let it run out of battery, and they never did today.
No, they never let it run out today, and I think I just want to highlight this. You know how I said how it's so important to get the information game out, because this game and this map is all about getting in from the outside of the building, trying to get the angles in. I believe not a single kill from the attacking team was made from inside the building in that round. All of them basically came down from the windows, or at least were supported by window play, and that shows you how important it is to get those repels under control and make sure that you're not too exposed to them there. But very well played by CYCLOPS, absolutely dominant. Of course, those 2 rounds in a row, both in Cafeteria Garage, due to a great read from T1. We have to give them that, with the plants right there, but I'm sure the analysts can tell more about that.
Indeed, we can. Hap, and thank you so much.